Hello, my name is Randall Lawrence, host of That Moment podcast show, and I'm here with my guest, Curt. Brother, tell us a little bit about who you are, where it is you're going, and what's up with your life as is right now. Start from the beginning of who Curt is.
Okay, well, again, Curtis Chambers, a.k.a. Curt Bone, live in Washington, D.C., family of four, I guess, mom and dad and a brother. Fairly normal life coming up, in the Langston Terrace area. For those who don't know, Washington, D.C., the oldest federal housing project in D.C. Pretty good life coming up in the community around those times. I don't know what to say.
Tell us a little bit more about Langston Terrace, for those who don't know about Langston Terrace and that area.
Well,
that's a northeast area, right?
Yeah, northeast Washington. Like I say, it's historical. Right next to people not familiar with D.C., right by the old RFK Stadium, Langston Golf Course, which was the Redskins Stadium. Very good community, a lot of rich history. A lot of I can't think of some of the people's names, but it was some well-to-do African Americans that came from there. And to the day it can't be remodeled, can't be knocked down. It's historical. And,
because it has historical value there, they can't touch it, right?
Right, they can't touch it. They can go on the inside and redo the inside, but they can't knock down the structure.
Tell us about Langston Terrace compared to now.
Now, Langston from then to now, I'm gonna say that the community love, I don't think is not the same. The parenting is a little bit different based on the age gaps. Also, the drug academic, mental health, a lot of things, combination, you know what I'm saying?
But that's not that wouldn't be the same Langston Terrace it is for now because of the gentrification. Has it hit that area?
It haven't hit in Langston. You know what I'm saying? It hit around Langston. Right, yeah, not in.
Oh, it's around it.
Right.
So you can see the developmental growth.
Road, the 8th Street corridor, but not inside of Langston, the Wellers.
Yeah.
It's still right. It's still 90%, 95, 99%
of where it was.
Right, yeah.
How do you feel about the gentrification process that's happening in Washington, D.C.?
Me personally, I don't have no problem with gentrification. I actually like change. I like the, evolution. It's that time. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, well, for I understand the displacement and moving on. I get that process. I'm kind of, I have an emotional feeling about that, but I understand everything involved. You know what I'm saying?
Talk about the emotional feelings.
You just seeing things change. You seeing old Miss Johnson and Miss Haynes that had the house don't own it no more. The candy lady gone. You know what I'm saying? It's different things like that
I want to piggyback on what you just said. You said old Miss Johnson who used to have the house that don't have it anymore. So is it because she was bought out, or is it because she gave it to the kids and they didn't know exactly what to do with it, or they sold it for a cheap price and didn't know the worth of it?
Right. Actually, combination. Sometimes it can be drug use and they couldn't handle it. Another time it be lack of education as far as to do the real estate thing, not knowing the market, not knowing the value, not understanding that you sell a house, it look good in hand, but you can't go nowhere else to live because you don't have enough to make that next step. You know what I'm saying?
So, talk about it a little bit more, because I know I grew up in the Northwest area, but I swear to you, when we saw that wave hit, having an opportunity to buy those properties for pennies on the dollar, but we didn't know 20 years from now those same properties was going to be worth $1 million. Right. Is it because we lack of education because of the political people that was in place that didn't tell us, or is it because of we just didn't want to know, or just didn't want to understand that it was coming?
Right. A combination. I think it wasn't a good enough job of effort with the administrator surveying that information to us. Also, I think that the few that did know, as far as African Americans, didn't spread it out and teach it, and make sure it got out, because you had some older cats that was from that era that benefited from that. And you see them today, you see some of their family that's passed down to them. But I just think people not sharing information. And not knowing. Because we right there by the 8th Street corridor, we walking this from there, and them big amount of properties. All the way down to Union Station. So if we knew, it would took a rest of that, but just not lack of knowledge. not being taught in public schools, education piece, not even talking about real estate, not even talking about equity and things of that nature.
You know what? And you have to understand. I know for me, my parents didn't understand what was actually going on. So that's another way you can look at it. Because if your parents don't know and you're not getting it on the political side, how you really gonna understand? You're just doing what it is that you see out on the streets, and you think that's okay.
Right. Yeah, you mimicking what you see.
Yeah.
Mimicking what you see, man. It's just like you say. Even all the way down to the educational piece, because I was fortunate enough when my kids went to private school for the most part of their life. Back then, you did like guys that played sports. A lot of those private schools was reaching for a lot of those guys, but the parents not really having the history of going to those schools or having an understanding of the different quality of education. Sometimes they're like, "You're not going there. That's too far. You know, we need you home. We need you right by. You know,
man,
right
please
by
talk
us."
about that.
You know
Please talk about that a little bit more.
So,
but they didn't understand the importance of allowing your kid to go to another school to better his or herself.
Education better, his network better, his understanding, his quality of life. You know what I'm saying? Just the small things. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't, and I probably would have been guilty of that too if I didn't have experience with my kids. You know what I'm saying? And me being diverse and moving on, because with my son being in private school, it was small things that they did that I was like, it didn't make sense when I was first there, but as time went on, it was there. For example, whenever coaching, like everything, I'm paying you tuition, fee to go to school, but then they saying, if you want to coach, you got to volunteer to coach, you got to do all this stuff. And I'm like, well, you ain't paying no coach. Why y'all got people that's paid to do this? But it was really making you interact with what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Giving you an understanding, saying the quality of education, saying it was hands-on. Your kid do something that was, small or whatever, you got to come up there. You got to be there. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of forced me to see what's going on. Even in track meets, in public schools, where we from, or recreations, it was first place or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Right. You second place, cool. But ain't no third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And,
it was that was the only thing we had to hang on to was the recreational facilities back then.
So when I'm in that setting and I'm seeing Sally and Michelle coming in fifth and sixth place when everybody's already off the track, drinking their Gatorade, and you still see them chilling. Come on. It hit me. It made it click. It was just about finishing. Right. You know what I'm saying? When we come home, it's like, come on, man, get off the track. Next person up. You know what I'm saying? Like right. Yeah, it was competition. We ain't looking at the time. It was the only competition. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So when I've got to be around that private school and being around a different demographic, I see you don't necessarily have to be first or second or third. Just finish. Just complete it. You know what I'm saying? So stuff like that really, really highlighted. And then being around
a different type of environment for the networking aspect, because just like you said, you may have some kids that's not into sports like the next kid is on the other side of town, but that same person who you built a relationship might be that doctor or might be that lawyer. So you built that rapport when you were younger, and now you have a doctor on hand. Now you have a lawyer on hand because you built a rapport with them as a child.
Exactly.
How do you feel about the generation compared to now, and with the social media aspect on with the twist?
Yeah, the social media, man. That's a big pickle right there, man. And I'm like I said, I'm fortunate enough to still work around a lot of youth that's that age, a lot of people, that's in that demographic. And if you're not around them and understand it, it's like, because we're used to,
our social media was recreation. You had to go outside and get that record.
Talking, playing, making up games, but with the social media, man, it's like everything on that one wrong thing can disrupt their whole reputation of life. You know what I'm saying? So, one wrong thing go viral.
So I don't know. You know what? Because I look at it in so many different ways. Social media can be a bad thing, but it can also be a good thing, because you have people that's financially wise at a young age. They're not working harder. They just working smarter, and that's through social media, and they making good money from it. And then you have some kids that'll utilize social media that'll bring the negative piece inside of within themselves or within their homes. That just like, it's different countries that don't allow certain things that go on social media like we do.
Right. Right, and just what you just summed it up. It's basically a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
The curse of it is that with whoever you are, whatever you do, and it can be negative to the 20th power, it's a community out there that you can network with. You know what I'm saying? The good thing is, whatever positive thing you is, in business-wise, is a community out there for you. You know what I'm saying? So it's a gift and a curse. So it's how you use it, how you take advantage of it. But it's a monster.
Which direction is Curt going in right now?
Right now, Curt just trying to figure out, working towards generational wealth. And when people hear generational wealth, they look at strictly finance, right? Of course, I'm looking at finance also, but I'm looking at generational wealth as far as leaving a legacy of someone that was a good person, a stand-up person. I want my family and kids to benefit from that too. Because a lot of times, you focus just on the financial piece, and you might have left a nice bag or wealth, whatever you want to say, but then your family members might still be getting treated shitty or don't get opportunities. If you got one or two that didn't take advantage of the money, I want to be able, when I leave and they say, that's Curt Bone's grandson or granddaughter, let her in or let her in, and whatever they need, get it for them, just because of how I was as a person. So both of those financial piece and wealth as who I were.
Talk a little bit more about the generational wealth, because a lot of people don't understand what that is.
Basically setting yourself up and setting your family up where the next 1 or 2 or 3 generations don't have to work as hard as you. You still want to be able to work, you still want to be a part of society, but you don't want to be worrying about on building a sidewalk and worrying about the struggle. It shouldn't matter who the administrator is, what's going on in the government, they should be able to sustain and be comfortable, you know what I'm saying, for generation to generation to generation.
You used a term that kind of struck my attention. I forgot what it was. It'll come back to me in a minute. And that's
I think I know the term you said. When I mentioned, I speak of living off the land.
Yeah, talk about that. Right. Please talk about that.
Yeah, living off the land, man, is making adjustments to whatever the land offer. Not feeling like in a box. And I think gentrification scared a lot of people because they feel like they can't adapt. You know what I'm saying? So I'd say whatever the land offers, you take advantage of. Like with new gentrification, the new neighbors, they like dogs. They be animal lovers. So, get into dog park, getting the dog trainer, getting the dog walker, getting the dog treats. You know what I'm saying? This is one example of what I say off the land. Whatever it offers, whatever you see the land need, take advantage of it. Don't feel the need that you got to be straight 9 to 5. 9 to 5 good, but after 5, still find another source of getting some legal money.
And you honestly think that, or you honestly say that? Why?
I honestly think that, and I honestly say that because we're in a land of opportunity, number one, and we in the process with, like you spoke earlier, the social media. Like, it's so many different ways of getting money, right? It's so many, and due to the fact, and I don't want to get too deep into the police violence and what's going on.
We got an hour. Get deep.
Oh yeah.
We got an hour. We can talk.
I'm saying.
Listen. Let me say this to you.
Right.
This show is just for that. This is a bridge so we can cross, so other people can gather knowledge and can understand a little bit better. This is where we talk about whatever it is we need to talk about. Right. So if you feel like you can, go ahead. Right. That's one of the reasons why I asked you to come here.
Right. Yeah. I was just saying because some people sensitive on the black and the white issues and police brutality, right? But a lot of stuff I'm saying, as far as my guy having the brain freeze now. The one they put the knee on his neck, the police.
Look, both of us should know. I know you. Yeah. And I'm having a brain freeze. Floyd. Yeah. George Floyd.
Right. It seems to me from the observation at that time, corporate America, big dog America, I call it the 5% of the world. It seems like it kind of opened their eyes up. And you see a lot of big corporations doing business with smaller businessmen. You know what I'm saying? You see a Nike or a New Balance dealing with a museum. We can go on and on. You know what I'm saying? You saying things like that, right? So I think it was almost like, damn, all the stuff they've been hearing to cry about, hearing to complain about, it was actually played out visual for them. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And contrary to what people might think, it's a lot of good people in the world, all colors, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Sometimes they didn't make an extra effort to apply themselves, or some didn't understand how to apply themselves. Mm-hmm. So I think that was one of the main things that happened that made a lot of those big dogs and big companies say, man, we got to do better. We got to open up. We got to make opportunities. So I'm seeing a lot of cross business going. So I'm saying with that, excuse me, my brain thinking about that, and I start thinking about that, I get I get passionate about that. Mm-hmm. But I see that. So I'm saying that right there alone is a lot of opportunity for smaller companies to do big things and open doors. Because now when you knock on the door, I think they kind of see, not everybody, but they see it in a different light now. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to say.
Speaking of companies, talk to us about your ability to put parties together and different phases of how you started and where you are with it right now.
We're just getting the parties together. I had a popularity already in DC from as a younger kid when I was living illegal and being a legal person, right? Knowing how to gather people, knowing how to be a marketer, like we said earlier about living with the land, observing and saying what's a missing niche or whatever going on, how can I up it or make it, enhance it better, right? Mm-hmm. So, just going to the party, man, like I say, with the popularity and seeing what's not going. I came back, there was a lot of parties going on in church halls and bingo halls and nice Columbus and places like that. It wasn't a whole lot of hotel stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So I said, I'm just going to dress it up, make it cute, because you all know where we from. They like to party, they like to put clothes on. Mm-hmm. So I didn't see that being pushed hard. So I kind of looked in that niche right there and said, we're going to put the hotels and mix it with the go-go, and I'm going to pay attention all the way down to the food. You know what I'm saying? I want to get the largest shrimp you got. I want them to walk around and serve it. I wanted to put the ice cold, so I just made the event more than a party. Mm-hmm. And I just kept on pushing that concept right there. So when my dates came around, people already knew this is not just a party, this is an event.
Right. Yeah, talk about that. How did that affect you? Talk about the good and the bad that comes with that.
What part of it, when you say good and bad, will come with that?
Whatever it is you went through.
Going to the parties?
Yeah, going through. Going through them as an entrepreneur person that you are, because I know all of that was not easy. Right. There's some hard times. When you start anything from the beginning, there are going to be some hard times. Talk about that.
Right. Good question, but like I say, I try to find. I don't like to look at like my slogan I want on my tombstone is adversity introduce a man to himself. Mm-hmm. Like that. Like I actually want on my tombstone, right? So I don't look at stuff like that. I look at, okay, you give me a brick wall, I'm gonna find a way to shoot through that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And
that's all.
Right, and the fact that people think it's hard to get through it attracts me more and turns me on more to try to get through it, right? Yeah. But, so it's like, I had I'm not gonna say a lot of bad times. It was just being creative. You talking about some of those budgets for my party was like 60, 70,000. You know what I'm saying? You talking about, I'm 22 at the time. I'm sorry, let me back up. I'm 24, 25 starting out. So I had to do things like get an American Express card that wasn't mine at the time. Yeah. Put it all on there, and the person had to trust you that you're going to be able to get them $80,000 back in 30 days. You know what I'm saying? The fact that I knew I had the clientele, I built it up. If you go back from the beginning, I built a lot of my clientele up because I was a community guy. Right. Even when I was illegal or illegal, I was always a community guy. So I threw cookouts and threw things. So I built up the anticipation and the hypeness of it. So I knew that when time the party was going to come, I was going to get that rush. I was going to be able to get that 80 back. So I just try to turn any situation and try to figure out how to get around that wall.
And the reason why I asked that question is because a whole lot of people don't. A whole lot of people, when they come into that brick wall, they just give up.
Right, yeah.
They just give up.
Yeah. It's definitely deep. It gets deeper with me just because my whole life I've been a big guy, heavy set guy, right? Mm-hmm. So even in elementary school, like, and I laugh and joke about it now. You know how when you're in the 4th grade, when the girls just get in that time where they looking at you, they ain't gonna do nothing, but it's like I like him, and the boyfriend, right? I never was the dude that when they make the list of who they want to talk to, who they like. They be like, they make a top 5. I never make that top 5. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I always have to try to find a way to attractive girl, or it was time for sports. I was good, but my exterior didn't look like I was an athlete, so I had to go as much harder. So I'm used to going an extra mile and doing the things people don't want to do to get to my destination. So it became a comfort level for me, for real.
Talk about health. Talk about who Curt Bone was about health, pertaining to health then, who Curt Bone is now pertaining to health. Because I know when we spoke, you were like, and I asked you what it was that you wanted to eat. Mm-hmm. You were like, all right, I'm kind of on a pick and choose piece, and being careful about what it is I eat. Why is that?
Well, I got focused more on health. Now that I'm an older father, want to be a grandfather, want to live alone. Like, mm-hmm. Number one, obviously. Number two, COVID really was an eye opener when that hit. Everybody got their conspiracy theory of where it's from. We, obviously don't 100% know. But what I did know, that when I looked at the demographic of people that was dying, that I knew personally, it was two demographics. It was older and it was obese. Mm-hmm. I knew people that actually was dying. So mm-hmm. I said, that's a reality. Whatever it came, whatever it do. So I said, man, I don't want to go through everything I went through and die from, from COVID. You know what I'm saying? So that made me really focus on getting down to size. Also, I got my podcast. I was Curt Bone mm-hmm. TV. Yeah. So I knew that I wanted to be on TV, on camera, taking a lot of pictures, jumping on planes, going around the country to interview. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted that to be as comfortable as possible also. So all that played a part. So
we're going to talk about Curt Bone TV. We're going to talk about all days, and we're going to talk about all that. But what I really, mm-hmm. because I tell you, I know I knew of you, mm-hmm. but we hadn't had a chance to sit and talk. Mm-hmm. We're doing this, of course. We shout out to the representatives for giving me that beat. That's where we actually sat and mm-hmm. talked, and that's where I knew I had to have you on this show mm-hmm. because we were talking about some things pertaining to mental health mm-hmm. with the kids, and the conversation that we had from that, mm-hmm. I was like, wow, this dude is mm-hmm. on a different level, thinking about different things that grown people should be talking about, mm-hmm. and kids need to hear. Mm-hmm. One of the conversations I get, like we talked about the mental health aspect with kids in the generation of, let's just say, Washington, D.C. Some of the things that they do, it's not because they want to do it, it's because they go through mental health issues. Speak about that a little bit.
Yeah, man, it's just they every day just waking up in the morning time. The array is around the house. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the mom not even there. You know mm-hmm. what I'm saying? You open the refrigerator up.
There's no food.
There's no food. When I say no food, I'm not talking about a little bit of cheese, some bread. No food. Nothing. No. It used to be a gallon of milk with mm-hmm. water in it, right? Yeah. The stain of the milk thing still in there, right? So when you wake up like that, and you 14 and you 13, your little sister crawling, she over there crawling around. She don't know where her mother is. She home. She looking at you like, what you gonna do? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? All night I've been playing on a TV game that was carjacking and shooting all night mm-hmm. with my earphones, my music on.
That's processed in your head.
With the music on, saying the same thing. I go out, I'm in the house, I can't eat, I can't do nothing, mm-hmm. I go outside.
Yeah, how do you expect that kid to process in school? Or what do you think that kid's gonna do the first couple of hours when he or she goes to school? Their energy is already kind of messed up.
They're already all out of whack. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Just because they haven't even ate, not even talking about the part we just talked about, on top of it on that. Yeah. Like, the energy is out of whack. So mm-hmm. so I tell people, especially people my age, that say, man, why you do the work and you stay around younger, and man, you ain't nervous for your life, or you ain't do, of course we all, I'm nervous to go across the highway. You mm-hmm. know what I'm saying? But for the same token, it's a bigger picture. They not fighting the same fight we fought. Like mm-hmm. we came up, hungriness meant you ain't got fried chicken on steak. You know mm-hmm. what I'm saying? You still had peanut butter and jelly. You still had search sandwiches. You still had oodles and noodles. You still get creative, right?
Yeah, with stuff we can get creative with. Right, talk about the different kinds of foods compared to now, compared to then, because a lot of our foods are chemically grown now. And but back then we had natural stuff that could make us function the right way. But a lot of these foods right now, what do you think?
I think with that, how they what they call it, cloning and shooting up all the stuff in the meat.
Watermelons and grapes.
Right. It's a major side effect from that. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I went through a whole period of time where I get lightheaded. Right. That's another thing with the weight thing. I've started to get myself together. I can just be talking to you and stand, and I'll feel lightheaded. Right. I used to go to the doctor for like about 4 or 5 years. Took every test you can think of: neurology, CAT scan, balance tests. They couldn't find nothing, right? And I was like, so they got to the point where they said, sometimes you can imagine things. They called it something about anxiety, right? See, sometimes anxiety can make you feel a certain way, and you might, it'll trigger that. But I'm like, but it happens when I'm just talking about sports. I'm not thinking about nothing. I'm just talking about nothing. So they say, yeah, we understand. So they kind of chop it off of that. After 2 or 3 or 4 years of doing that, I just sat there and said, man, I don't drink. I don't do nothing. I say, man, the only thing I do, I haven't ate beef or pork since 1989. So I don't, mess around with this. I said, the only thing that I know I do is I eat a lot of chicken and turkey. So I said, I'm going to stop chicken and turkey for a while and see what happens. And I stopped the chicken and turkey. And sure enough, if me losing my balance like a level 9 or 10, on a 10 scale it was level 9. Now it's like a level 1. Not even a 2.
Well, I'm glad we didn't get you chicken.
It's not even a 2, right? And that might didn't have nothing to do, but in my brain, I feel like that something that wasn't conducive to my system. You know what I'm saying? So, and I was way much better. I'm not gonna say perfect, but I'm 90% better since that.
Talk about All Days.
All Days, man. Clothing line I started.
Talk about All Days and tell me how All Days affected your life then and how does it affect your life right now?
All Days, it affected my life in a super, super positive way because I always wanted to be a legal entrepreneur. And that was my first legal entrepreneur play right there. Well, I'm going to say the parties was, but a long term was All Days. And it hit me different because, again, it put me in rooms meeting guys like yourself, DC public schools, everybody. And it was like, to me, in the DC area, I was just looked at, in their minds, the public mind, as a one-trick pony. You know what I'm saying? But I knew it was way more layers to me. Again, I was just living off the land, the opportunity that was presented in the 80s from what the government dropping it off the sky. You know, Iran College was going for that, right? But that gave me the opportunity to present myself as a businessman who I truly was, a community guy who I truly was. So it's passion to me. I called it my firstborn. You know, I had it before I ever had my kids. We actually spoke about that on the way riding up here. You know what I'm saying? My good friend, we was talking about that, and I was saying, she was like, what you do? I said, man, I love it. It's like a kid, right? So All Days is like my first kid.
Let me tell you, I had a retail clothing store called After Dark, and I think we did a 6 or 7 year run, but then I got into the acting stuff, and I can honestly tell you, from the beginning, I think we had like $200 worth of merchandise and like $75 in the cash register. But that store helped me to become the person who I am today. It helped me to endure more with the community aspect. It helped me to understand the dynamics of marketing and finances and what you do with your money and investing it back in yourself. Because I didn't understand it back then, but I was one of those ones that I would think out of the box or think out of the circle and not do the typical norm. And still is up until this day. Thank you, man. Thank you. But I can safely say, being an entrepreneur with retail in the retail business, you have to be able to think out of the box, because that's not an area where you can lollygag and pussyfoot around. Excuse the terminology. You have to have that mentality where it's just driven.
You gotta love what you're doing.
You gotta love what you're doing.
And I tell people, man, you never really fully master. You never really fully. It's infinite. You know what I'm saying? When people might say, I've been doing this 20, 25 years now, right? And I still don't have a complete line. I still don't have a complete baby line. a complete female line.
Female,
you know what I'm saying? And people say, and people come up to you and bless their heart, they just, outside looking at it. You ever thought about this? You ever thought about this? You sometimes use an entrepreneur, I know you laugh at yourself, you like, do you know I eat, sleep, I done thought about everything you ever can imagine. If you don't say it, it might be a reason why you don't got it. But I appreciate the information. Yeah. I don't share these thoughts to them because I appreciate the information, right? But sometimes you come in there, but so that typically, but another thing with the fashion, like you said, when I got into it and started going to the magic shows. Things, right?
Please talk about that.
Man, that blew me away. The biggest show in the world, and it all days made me look at fashion different, and labeling different. Right? Mm-hmm. When I'm in a booth where they selling blank button-up shirts, I'm buying it as all days a small company in Washington D.C. And I'm seeing other buyers buy it. They got stores in Georgetown and Chevy Chase and Bethesda area. Yes. We buying the same shirt wholesale for $7. They going to sell it in Georgetown for $140.
Different community, different aspect.
They offer me for $40. Right. So when I got to seeing stuff like that, it made me look even more strong at the fact that fashion is where it's being presented at, where it's being sold at. You know what I'm saying? We know quality can separate and you get good qualities, but most part it made me don't have as much emphasis in the labeling and spending a whole lot of overpriced for clothing, because at the end of the day, it's how it's being brand, how it's being sold, how it's being marketed, because sometimes everybody got the same merchandise. It's just where it's being presented at.
Yeah. If you had a chance to tell a young entrepreneur that was starting their retail clothing business something, what would you tell them right now?
Be open-minded, be prepared for change. Some of the mistakes I made was, like I said, I was in love with all days, and then when you start off, you're buying from your eye. You got to buy from the public's eye.
Oh my goodness. Jeez.
You know what I'm saying? You got to look with the public. Like, it might look good to you. It might look good to a few people, but it's going to look good to the masses, right? Yeah. You got to be prepared for change, because fashion change. Fashion don't got no rules. Right. This shirt could be in the day. A young kid from Hagerstown could get a hit song and wear something crazy, and then they want that look. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So fashion you gotta be always ready to change. You gotta watch the trends. Like, we had to watch Nike. So whatever color Nike make on shoes, we try to make our clothes compatible to those colors, because we know all the youngers and all the people's gonna buy the Nike tennis shoes. They want to match it up. So you get to look at little trends and stuff like that.
Did you see how when we were using 100% cotton and then Egyptian cotton came through with the t-shirts? Did you see the transition with that? Because people was like, all right, they'll come in and fill it and pull it. Is this Egyptian cotton? Right. That trend went over. That piece still is in today. You saw that wave go through. Right. You know what I mean?
And you gonna have all levels. Have all levels of customers. You know what I'm saying? You gonna have one that need that top of the line. Then you gonna have some that just say, man, I just want a shirt that get a few words out and I see you in a couple of days. You know what I'm saying? But like, you gotta have, like I say, fashion. You gotta cover so much line. You know what I'm saying? And when I was in Vegas, I was walking in Vegas one day. This had to be in the magic show. It's probably like about 18 years ago, and I'm walking, so I stopped at the booth. Wasn't even a booth that I was wanting to purchase, but just looked at some nice stuff. It wasn't for my store, right? And the guy looked, they look at your name tag, and like, hey, you from DC, huh? That's your store? You got your own store? I was like, yeah. So he said, we was talking about that earlier today in the luncheon. I said, yeah. I said, what was y'all talking about? We were saying that how a lot of the young guys in DC have their own business, their own line, and it's impressive, right? They said, but we were just talking about, it's amazing that y'all, it's such a small quarter that y'all changed all these designs in one season. So I said, what you mean? He said, look at me. He broke down his booth to me. He said, he showed me it was like 5 or 6 items. And he showed how they all played off each other. He said, this right here is my spring collection. This it. He said, and I thought about it, City up dock, your joint. You gonna make 6 different design sweatsuits in a 3-month period. You know what I'm saying? 6 or 7 design shirts with designs on it. He's like, we was competing so hard with each other, trying to have different stuff and different looks.
Yeah, let me tell you something, brother. I wasn't competing. I wasn't competing with y'all. I was just enjoying myself. Because I knew we all had the same person that was actually doing a hand telling that. I wasn't nowhere. I ain't even look y'all. I ain't even look y'all way because y'all was the grandfathers of this stuff. I just came in and enjoyed a good time of a circle that I was starting, and it just so happened that they, you know, I wasn't competing.
That time it was man. You go to go, you see Hobo got a joint with a different hood, different stuff, and you know they like, man, people come in your store. Hobo got a nice joint. You like a mad science in the lab. So you see. You know, Madness joint, man. You know, it's like it was friendly fire. You know, everybody got along, but it was like the big picture of. We didn't really see the big picture because we only was really attacking about a DMV area. You know what I'm saying? Versus big lines with more experience at the time. Yeah. They was talking in the whole United States of America.
I don't think I knew how. Right. Like, again, I think that was just something for me to say, hey, this is a different chapter in my life. Let me try this. But that chapter went on for 6 or 7 years. To be honest with you, I swear to you, I was still surprised that it was over for 2 years. Because I had no experience in marketing or managing the money aspect. All I knew was once I make some money, put it back into that was put it back into the business. That was good enough for a while, but I think you still need to have a marketing strategy that's going to get you to that next level.
Right. And my strength is marketing. Yeah. I didn't know this about clothes, but I feel like I can sell or I can brand anything. Because I feel like... Again, go back to the land. I feel like I understand the people of the land. So that's why I feel like I can sell anything. That was always my concept. Yeah. So I learned on the fly, you know what I'm saying, as I was going.
I can tell you one thing that I honestly know. If you own independent anything, the character of who you are plays a lot into everything. Because if you're a messed up dude or credit, ain't nobody gonna buy nothing. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna have a hard time selling merchandise.
I tell people all the time, you always hear that slogan, I don't care what nobody think about me. You know what I'm saying? I say, I don't subscribe to that. I don't worry about what they think about me, but I care what you think about me because I'm trying to sell something. Yeah. I'm trying to present myself a certain way and I'm trying to sell something. Like I always made money off the land. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna be no shitty dude or excuse my language or, you know, a crazy person because I'm appreciate what you're doing for me and I want you to appreciate. Right.
And that goes a long way in every single thing that you do. Everything. Talk about Curt on TV.
Curt on TV, man. That's my new endeavor, man. I was trying to find a way to communicate with the public. I like the podcast. I like engaging, exchanging information. That's why I named it Change the Jewels. And also, it's a job, if you say whatever you want to say, that it don't have a retirement age on it. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at Dan Driver, all the guys that did it all the way to the grave, right? So, but I actually enjoy the information and different experiences and living that. So, man, Curt on TV, man, I really enjoy doing it. I really enjoy the network. I'm trying to learn more of this side of it, the technical side of it. And, I love it, man. And again, it's showing me in a different light because, again, people peg you. Yeah. People let the public speak for you. So now this gives me an opportunity to speak for myself. They never really heard me speak. They seen my work, but they never really heard me speak. You seen all day. You seen CB Entertainment, you seen the Cookout. You seen the Rainbow DVD, but you never interact with me. All your people opinion about me is opinion they got from other people. So now this gives me an opportunity. Now when I'm eating or going to shop and people walking up to me, we just talk about you in thread. Man, you're cool. We know man, you told me this. And then at one time I wasn't to them approachable. So so it's opening up a lot of things and showing me the light that I want to be perceived in.
Slim, I think we had a general idea of knowing of each other because when you would give your events, you would stop at a store and drop this big thing of party events for us to pass out. We had no problem with it. But Slim, I tell you, when I say God has a way of introducing people in your life on His time, I don't think this could have been a better time for me to meet you. One of my buddies, his name is Clay. I think he had you on the show or something, or something he was doing with you. And when I talked to him, man, it's like, man, that dude right there really, when you talk to him, really talk to him, like really communicate with him and talk to him, because his conversation is not on a level of when you were at 20 or 30 or whatever. It's a grown ass man conversation. 40, 50, 60, you know what I mean?
Right.
Sometimes we need those type of conversations in our lives, right? Like right now, my circle is small, but it's small for a reason. Right now, we at a point in our lives where we just want peace. We just want peace. That's all we want. We want to come home, make sure our family right. We want to come home, make sure our relationship as tight as it can be as possible. You're doing what you need to do as a man, providing for your family, and trying to find that peace. Whether it be in the house, where they say you're not supposed to look for peace outside of the house, I get it. But I can go in my garage and still have that peace, and still have that peace. But the peace that I'm talking about is that peace in your house where you can actually just let it down and let it flow. It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah. Peace is everything.
Yeah, peace is everything.
Peace is everything.
Yeah. We get to a point where in our show where we ask you, when did you realize that you had that moment in your life where it was an aha moment? This is what this means, or this is the direction where it's supposed to go. When did you have that moment?
I gotta think about that.
Or this is who I am now. Or now I know who I am now. Because it took, I'm gonna tell you, for me, and man, and now it's even going to a different chapter. It took me a while to understand who I was. You know what I mean? And it took me a while to understand marriage after divorce. It took me a while to understand what things to be mad at and what things to be upset at, and what things that could actually take away energy, unnecessary energy for no reason. Like, why am I mad at this specific person and that person is going home and going to sleep? How is this affecting me and breaking me down? I can use it. I can be using this energy somewhere else. Like, it's a lot of things. It's still a lot of things about life that I'm learning to just go in the direction where it's going to bring me more peace. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's a deep question.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna say. I don't want to flip your question on that, but I'm saying
flip it.
No,
you can do whatever.
I'm not gonna say.
Hold on.
I got you.
You do whatever you want to do on this show.
Sometimes I'm talking in my brain out
right.
loud, right? But I'm not gonna say I didn't have how you terminology that?
A wow moment.
A wow moment.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't want this to come off as cocky. I always feel like that. I knew who I was since I was young. That was kind of like some of the things that the teachers and older people kind of took to me about, like my confidence level. And for that, my moment always been people not understanding me. You know what I'm saying? So like when I meet people like yourself, even though I'm not saying you had a judgment on me, everybody have an opinion of somebody. Right?
No, it wasn't.
So I know. Yeah. I said it wasn't a judgment. I said it wasn't a judgment.
I didn't know.
You didn't know, right? So with people, I just be. I want to change. Yeah, I just be saying my moment is saying where people, when they get to know me or get to what's the name, the difference of the treatment based on how they was acting towards me when they had a perception of me. That's not talking to you. I'm talking to some experience in my history, in my past. So I'm not gonna really say I'm looking forward now. What I do want to know is I haven't figured out my total purpose in life. I haven't.
Hold on, wait a second. I don't know if you asked me. This is the one of the purposes of having the good things about having this show.
Right.
To talk about conversations like this.
Right.
Do you know how many people that's sitting right there that have no idea who they are or their purpose in life? Right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right. Yeah. So right, I haven't figured that out, but I do know it's something powerful. Just for the fact that I'm 54, and ever since I've been 4 or 5, that I come in rooms and I demand a room, and everybody felt like it's something about it, and not just somebody tell you go be an astronaut. I'm just saying off of personal engaging with people, right? Yeah. And I can feel it and I know it, right? Even though I can go anywhere, somebody always gonna be, man, I know you feel something about you. I know you. It's something. And to me, I just laugh at myself because I've been getting since I've been a kid. But it's like, you know, I just remind you of somebody who you probably, and I can't know who that person you know, but it's something about me remind them of people that they know. But I get that all the time. So I haven't figured out my purpose. I do know there's one thing I've learned about. God rest his dead to a friend of mine named Depp. He got killed years ago. They used to call him Depp Bone. He was a heavy-set guy, younger than me. Tried to duplicate everything I did, even as the bad part of my life, right? And we talking one day, just leisurely talking. And I was like, we was having something similar to this. He's like, man, everybody fucks, man. In the street, niggas, this and that. I was like, man, I said, tell you the truth, let me back my whole life. I don't know what to call it, what to figure, what name. He said a term that stuck in my brain. He said, man, you just got mass appeal. So I figured that part out. That's I got mass appeal. Right. But why? What's the purpose of that? What's the long term of that? Why do I?
What can I do with it to make it even?
Right now, and I'm not even looking forward from a proper standpoint. Yeah. I just want to figure out. You know, God give us all our gifts. We all got them. Give us our journey and our path. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always trying to. I want to figure that out. Whatever that is, that's what I want to be led to, and the podcast is giving me a hope. It's giving me a bigger platform to talk to more people and you know experience more things. So I'm trying to figure that out. What's my purpose?
So it's chapters in our lives that we get to build up to that question where what you just asked, your purpose in life, and it's always the chapters before you try certain things, and that's always the last chapter. So now, what's my purpose in life? You understand what I'm trying to say? So that's a good thing to be asking.
And you might be living your purpose. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. You know, I might be looking for an answer. It's not a one statement answer. You know what I'm saying? I might be looking at a one statement answer. You know, so I know I got the ability to. I know I always had the ability as a young guy, even now, to move men. Right? And people, that slogan was a simple statement I made, but that's not an easy thing to do, to be able to move men, because men, we all build with ego. We all build with that testosterone and different things that feel like, I'm a leader, because men usually lead their house and lead their what's name. But I always had the ability to move men, not physically, not aggressively, just to be able to make them kind of, you know.
Talk about the mental health. Talk about the mental health aspect area where you want to move to and what you want to do with that.
I want to move into the mental. I'm actually in the process of opening up a PRP in Maryland. And what I'm saying speaks to what we talked about earlier. Me servicing the young generation, even dealing with older, you know, adults. The mental health piece is the main thing I'm saying that's a problem with us all.
All of us.
All of us, right? Everybody. I say everybody got a diagnosis, right? You know what I'm saying? And I don't know that piece from a therapeutic side, right? So I want to team up with some people who know that. I want to use my ability to get people who are uncomfortable to talk to people to bridge that gap, right? Yeah. So I'm an opportunity to make it a business and to make it a way of life also. So that's what I'm trying to do, use that ability to move men or move people into that arena.
How do you feel about the people that were insane needs now that's actually homeless with mental health issues and they don't know which direction where to go? They just out.
It's deep, man. It's deep. It's deep. I mean, I never really thought about it from all that. When I see that, not to be selfish, I always just pray, just thank God that He gave me all my fosters. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing to find. Be thankful who I am and not understand or being more sympathetic for them in the way I am, but it's like I just thank God again, like, you know, much as I want that convertible Bentley, I'm just happy to be healthy, have my senses, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, but I feel for that, for those people who live in that condition, and, you know, it's a tragic, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I know you mentioned the movie, the Randall Evans piece that you had. Talk about that. Talk about what made you do it. Talk about how do you felt with the results that came from that movie? And which direction did you want to go with that movie?
What made me do the movie, because I always wanted to be into the movie business. I actually was an avid movie and TV watcher when I was small, all the Ernst Speller stuff, all the actors and actresses. I used to watch it, the Fall Guy, different movies and see ways I can see the stunt man now they're getting up with his Jeep put on. So I was always, with cinematography, I was always had a passion and love for it. That's number one. But also with the Rifle joint, that Pacific piece, for years I didn't want to touch it for the fact that, Ray ended up having a situation where he ended up dealing with the government, whatever reason he felt like he needed to deal with the government to help himself. And I feel a certain way about that, so I didn't want to put myself with that. But as I'm doing the work, I'll start doing. And now I'm talking to the generation under us, and I'm hearing their thought process of what they thought about that what they was told about that and it was kind of like a whole lot of misinformation, right? So I said, back to my marketing, you're going to see me flip-flop, but back to my marketing piece, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can use that piece to talk to them and give them some real knowledge and let them know that at the end of the day, it all looked cute, it all looked glamour, but people end up with life.
Let me ask you a question. So, with the understanding of who you were then and when you did it then, if you had the opportunity to redo it all over again with the person who you are today, would you do it?
You mean far as
the movie,
the DVD?
Yep.
Yes, I would have done it. I would have done it. I would have took more control of it. I was the executive producer to it. I also got a lot of people who was in it, but I kind of didn't put enough on how I wanted to be told for one small thing. The guy who agreed to do it, I told him, I say, look, at the end of the thing, I want to be recorded speaking about.
Yeah, because that's where I was getting to.
Right, I want to be recorded speaking about, this, my opinion about what this did to the community and to the mindset of the people, right? That was an agreement we had. For whatever particular reason, he said he went to final and it never made it on there. He put it on the special features. But what happened was the DVD was mostly dubbed or duplicate, whatever they call it, bootleg. So those are the most copies that were sold. The person that's bootlegging, he's not bootlegging no special feature. He bootlegging the movie from the beginning to the end. So most people they never even seen it. People who purchased the DVD, seen the special features, and they seen me spoke on the effect it did on the people, the mindset, and for my reason for wanting to do it and showing it. And the guy who did it, he's deep into the the movie thing, doing everything you said was doing. And at the time, I think that his vision was he wanted to have a movie like he's in his brain. That's your personal feeling, but I want my stuff to be a movie from beginning. So I feel the way that I didn't have opportunity for that to be in there, but now I would have been more. I would have took over. I was executive producer. I would have just took it all the way over. This is how it's going to go. I need to see, make sure nothing don't happen. I would have been more aggressive on that, and I would have changed a few little pieces in it. But
so again,
I would have did it.
Again, if you had a chance to redo that, to do it again, would you do it again? With the person who you are today, not the person who you are then.
Oh, okay.
No, not him.
Right,
I'm talking about you.
So you said redo it.
Right, yeah.
Oh, I thought you said if I go back.
No. Would you
go back in time?
Would you redo it again?
I will redo it. I would like to do it in either a feature film or a series. I wouldn't want to do a documentary.
Right.
And if I do it again, I wouldn't make it just about Rayful.
Yeah.
I would make it
about a lot of things that
Washington D.C. in that era.
Yeah.
And I'll do it. I would do it again on that level right there, either a feature or either a series.
And the only reason why I asked you because you just hit a point because. Not only did that thing affect him, it affected that whole community and that whole era. So to tell a story just about him, I also think, just like you said, I think it could have been a more detail about the surroundings of it and who else did it affect. It affect, and you have your opinion on towards the end that
right
because and
even when we did a documentary, we was trying to be careful with. That's because of the simple fact that he made a deal with the government. We so I wanted to be since I couldn't contact everybody, I wanted to be mindful of putting people information in speaking.
Right.
So we made the encouragement about everybody that was ended up being government informants. But we talked about them. So we could have talked 1,000 ways for that. That it could have went 1,000 different ways. We were just trying to put information out there, tell the story, and I wanted to tag my little piece at the end, my reason for even being involved. Because when I did the press run, when I talked to the Washington Post, all the radio stations, everything, I spoke to my reasoning for doing it, and I didn't tell them that was going to be on the end of the thing,
right.
but I made it known that was my part of my reason for doing it.
We talked about all days. We talked about the parties. We talked about the TV. Did we miss anything? We talked about mental health with adults and children. Did we miss anything?
I don't think we missed anything. We talk about the community love too. That's a piece that just got the love. Got to get back to the community. That's a big thing that.
How do you feel? Again, I know you mentioned about the community aspect. How do you feel about where you are right now, who you are right now, with the community that you're in right now, that same community that you grew up? And again, I wanted to piggyback. You said you had your mother and your father in your life, right?
He's my stepfather, but I call him my father.
But you had that male figure in your life.
Yeah, I had a male
How do you feel about individuals, kids not having a male figure in their life, in the direction where they're going? Do you think it's because one of the reasons is because they don't have that male figure in their life and they're doing exactly what it is that they're doing out in the street?
It's a high percentage. Yeah, it's not total 100% reason. It's a high percentage of why they're doing some of the things they did. Just a man president alone is a must. Is a key.
Yeah,
just the tone of his voice speaking. Just watch his behavior from shaving to how he handle your mother, how he talk to you. You know what I'm saying? How he giving you small, if you look in the hood, small things you can pay attention to. You can look at some people that, like my stepfather, he like my idol. Even though at a young age he ended up getting on heroin and died, but I still remember from 0 to 9 or 10, going into junior high, he was a perfect dad, father of her. The rest he was kind of strung out before he ended up dying for the AIDS, shooting.
Right.
But my I'm trying to say, you can see different mannerisms from dudes that had a father in a house all the way from 0 to a manhood. You know what I'm saying? They more on time. They more they body, they physical physique. He gonna tell them to do push-ups. He gonna tell them to do certain things, how they speak, how they talk. It's just the man. It's like the mom too. You gotta have both. It's irreplaceable.
To balance everything.
You gotta have irreplaceable, man. But the man is essential for the son and the daughter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For the son and the daughter. Yeah, but he definitely played a strong role in a lot of the black issues with the man not being there. And you asked the question earlier, some of the difference between the generation now and then men. It was a lot of men in the community in our time versus it's not a lot of men in the community. It's a lot of adult males, but it's not a lot of men in the community. Yeah.
It makes a difference. Man, listen, it's been a pleasure talking to you. And, I was looking forward to this interview. Please tell the people how they can stay in contact with you. Give them your social media information and so they can keep up with what it is that you have going on.
They can stay in contact with me on Instagram. It's Curt for C _DC. And also you can, I have a IG with All Days Gear, ALLDAZ Gear. And then my YouTube channel is Curt TV.
So I'm a literally get in trouble because my wife told me to tell you to bring some stuff so she can buy, and I didn't do that. So I'm gonna get in trouble. Man, once again, man, it's been a pleasure, and I was waiting for this interview, and it didn't steer me wrong because I knew this conversation was gonna be super dope, and I truly appreciate you for who you are, brother. I'm glad I'm associated with you right now. I'm glad. I'm looking forward to seeing what it is that you got planned for the future for you and how you're going to do it and how you're going to make it happen. I'm looking forward. I know you in production with Give Me That Beat because I did your interview. The interview went phenomenal. The interview was phenomenal.
I was a little woke that day too.
Yeah.
You got around the bed.
Yeah.
I was a little woke.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I appreciate you inviting me. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah.
I appreciate your setup, your professionalism.
Thank you, man.
Like I said, I'm always intrigued with this side of what we do, right? Mm-hmm. And man, what you're doing is powerful. I wish I would record the whole house and walk down mic and probably get some recording.
You can do whatever you want, man.
Right,
you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever it is you want.
Yeah, that's my problem, man. Yeah. Like I say, again, I just appreciate you having me, bringing me in, man, and appreciate what you're doing, and just keep on doing what you're doing and inspiring, you know what I'm saying? Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, man. Once again, my name is Randall Lawrence. Closing out with my guest, Curt. It's been an amazing interview. I appreciate you, brother. Again, my name is Randall Lawrence, host of That Moment Podcast.